Hello, this is the 93rd Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2223, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. So it's a pretty exciting episode today, because we got a present.
A present in two forms. So physically, we got a time capsule from Lydia from 200 years ago, as we mentioned in our last episode. But then also a present as content for our podcast.
Yes.
Something to talk about.
Exactly. We didn't have to come up with a topic for this week.
No creativity required on our part at all.
We were given one.
Very, very kind of you, Lydia. Thank you.
And but there was a lot of effort put in by Lydia.
Most definitely.
But I think the most exciting news for us and now also for our listeners is that the time capsule was still there.
Right.
I mean, definitely she put it in the ground 200 years ago, and we really dug it up this week. So it's been there for 200 years.
Yes, undisturbed. Like it wasn't all smashed up or dented or anything. It looked like it was in good shape, and so presumably was not bothered. No one dug it up and then shook it around a bunch and put it back or anything like that.
Or found it, or they build a bunker or
sure. Right, it could have been destroyed if there had been some construction work there. Nope. Yeah. All good.
And so that was actually a really exciting thing to. It's definitely different than email. We've been getting emails, and of course, you send this. It lives in some fake server or some fake cloud somewhere. And at one point, we read it, but it's all digital.
Yeah.
But this was really a bunch of stuff that we could touch and see.
We could ask people, well, not even ask people, but if people want to do this again, they could. If they want to send things to us. I'm getting a bit ahead of ourselves now, but
And we now identified one location in the world that is apparently going to be untouched.
But we can't tell anyone else about it because then they'll dig up Lydia's time capsule.
If we mention then they'll, instead of putting their stuff next to it, they will.
Well, I mean, maybe they do, that's their intention, but maybe they accidentally damage this one. And more to the point, if many people go to put them there, okay, then at some point it's too crowded. Maybe people notice why all these people always go in there, digging it up, get suspicious.
Yeah, okay, good point. So, at one point, maybe somebody doesn't cover it up properly, and if you keep on opening it up.
So in principle, we could find locations that we know will be undisturbed, but we can't really do that, because if we tell people back in the past and then too many of them want to use it, people in the past who want to send us time capsules, good luck.
Exactly.
We hope you find a spot that will be undisturbed for 200 years, and we look forward to seeing what you send us.
I'm just imagining.
I guess tell us where you bury it, yeah?
If a bunch of people go do this now, then we'll spend the next couple of weeks digging up all kinds of stuff.
I think we can pace ourselves, yeah.
That's true, actually. Yeah, exactly. If it's been there for 200 years, it will be fine staying there for a couple of more weeks.
Yeah, we can check on a map. Like we can check out that place. Is there planned construction work starting next week? Okay, then maybe we should check that one out sooner than something that has nothing planned.
Or maybe the listeners send us the coordinates first. We plan to put it here. We check if there's something.
Oh wow, that's
and then they put it there.
Yeah. We could have a regular section on the show where we read out, I guess, the names of the people who've said the coordinates.
Actually.
Or we can tell them in the show. We say, hey, so and so sounds good. Other so and so, find somewhere else.
Exactly. Please don't.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll
see if that becomes a regular.
Exactly. Or just put it there. Email us, and if we say sorry, there was a rocket launcher built there now. Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. But
they can dig them up. This is going a bit long, I know, but someone buries one, sends us the coordinates. We go to check it out. We learn, okay, 50 years ago, this place got redeveloped. It's not there anymore. We can tell the person in the show.
Oh, yeah.
And then they can just go. For them, it's just been like a week or whatever, 2 weeks or whatever. They go, dig it up, put it somewhere else.
And they keep on putting it somewhere. We keep on checking it out.
It's a bit less back and forth, because when it works out fine, we just dig it up and tell them. We don't even need to. I mean, we'll tell them in the show, but it's not like they have to wait on us,
Exactly. Then we don't have to constantly miss
we don't send
or
back,
show. Okay. I like it. Let's do it like that. Cool.
Because, anyway, this is really getting ahead of ourselves. This was our first time that we've received a time capsule. Maybe let's appreciate the one we've got now rather than thinking of future ones.
And I think it's fun to mention actually what was in it, but it wasn't so easy to actually get it. And we make it seem easy now.
Yeah.
And the digging up part, we can get to it. But
Well, because we wanted to be able to dig it up unhurried. We didn't want there to be a lot of stuff going on around the place. And so while it looked peaceful enough, but there was always something on. We checked the cams, to have a look. Is it free? But there was always there was often something going on. So like one day there was a birthday party.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So there was a bunch of kids that were playing Magnet Run and building huts, and because we didn't actually mention it. It was somewhere in the forest. So the forest south of Frankfurt, the old city forest, which is apparently bigger than it used to be. It used to be apparently smaller, so it's actually extended. And that's where I was. And for the people that didn't listen to the camps episode, a whole world is covered by cams. So, but they're so small that you don't really see them. But
the little cameras,
exactly.
Floating around, sitting on things everywhere.
And they record everything, so you can basically check every place every time. So before us actually teleporting there, and we had to walk a bit to actually get to the spot, we just checked the cams to see if there's anybody around. And then, you mentioned the birthday party, but there was other stuff going on.
Well, right, because so the next day, there were a whole bunch of wild boars. It was a nice resting place for them, because also there was some food left over, from the party the day before. There were scraps about.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's why they were there.
But, so they had the wild boars then had a nice little party the next day. Then after they had left, well, I guess so they didn't leave willingly exactly, but some pirates landed there, scared them off.
The pirate ship, So they were, I'm not sure what they were doing, but they seemed to be doing some maintenance.
Like you could see them hammering stuff and getting all sweaty while they winched. I don't know. They had tools in their hands and they were turning stuff.
Yeah. You couldn't see, there were camps everywhere, but like pirate ships themselves are known for not really being covered by cams.
Right.
So we couldn't really see everything. But
so we had to wait a bunch. But then eventually there was a time when it was free, and also we were free, because we have stuff going on. There was an overlap where we were free and the spot seemed to be free, and then we went. And it was pretty late in the day, so it was dark already. Yeah. But luckily we used a pink scanner that helped us find it really easily.
And your telekinesis.
Yeah, to actually get it out of the ground once we'd located it.
Yeah, exactly. So because we could have dug or used some machine or so.
I mean, could have, but since I could hook onto it with my mind, it made more sense to just wriggle it free using telekinesis.
And then maybe fun to mention, we didn't just unearth the time capsule.
Right.
Like what was interesting is this chest of some sort.
Yeah, like really plain looking.
Yeah.
Wooden chest with like a dome, not a dome, cylindrical, semi-cylindrical roof lid, curved on the top there.
Yeah, exactly.
With a big keyhole in the front. And then also we found a really big rusty key that also looked super boring. Yeah. So we just left those there.
Yeah, exactly. But that was interesting.
But it was a really big wooden chest thing.
Yeah. But of course we didn't come for that. So
we just came for the time capsule. That was, not as big as that, but reasonably sized. All shiny and metal.
Yeah, exactly. It actually looked a little bit futuristic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, even for.
I wasn't expecting. I was thinking maybe just some kind of plastic tub, but this was much more exciting to look at.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't actually open it on the spot.
It was dark, cold, so we figured to bring it home here in the warmth.
Yeah, and last week we had it was 2 weeks ago. We had a bit of live,
what was that? The young
star.
We
took the young star apart, so we basically live uncovered what was in it. This time we already did that, so we basically
we've already looked through the things, but now we're going to talk about them.
Yeah. What was one of your favorite things?
So one of my favorite things, it was the thing right on top of everything. Once we opened it, is a paper newspaper.
Yeah.
So not a regular newspaper that you read digitally, but one that was printed on actual paper. I guess Lydia printed it out.
Yeah, that's really nice of her because I'm not sure what digital formats they had 20 years ago. So she went through the effort of actually printing out the newspaper and bundling it. It was really nicely bundled.
Yeah, bound. You mean the way it folded? Yeah, like it wasn't just a flat sheet. It wasn't a single sheet. It was like many sheets all folded together. That fanned out.
And also really typical, the paper felt really typical. It wasn't like plain white, it was also kind of like light grayish.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and so in that newspaper, I had the date on it, so where was it? Yeah, there, the 11th of January 2023.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was it was interesting to see the date, to see this physical object from so long ago, and then to look through some of the news that was in there.
Yeah. So I think on the one side, it was kind of like proof, like if we even needed that this thing was okay. Well, it could have been buried like 100 years later. Just kept the newspaper from so long ago.
It could have been, but let's not go with that.
No,
let's go with this
exactly.
was like legit proof that we are sending something back in time. Hey, even if it was 100 years later, that's not 100 years ago.
And then, but it was still, I mean, like the newspaper showed this was actually from that day, like because the date was on it.
Right, and the news itself, there was a whole lot of bleak stuff in there that we're not going to really... I mean, hey, people listening to this 200 years ago, they know what was in their news.
There was a whole bunch of sad things.
A whole lot of really grisly stuff. Sorry, people listening 200 years ago. I'm really sorry that that's how things were.
Yeah, as also, it doesn't come out of the emails that we get.
Right,
no,
that people don't seem to mention it so
to be relatively well-spirited.
Content.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
but
people writing to us,
based on a newspaper prints, okay.
Well, so good on you for maintaining a good attitude in such a hostile kind of world.
Exactly. But we did find a few interesting parts in it.
Yeah. And we're ostensibly a tech podcast, so we'll mention a couple of tech things we found. The first was something called, the pine cell or the pinichil soldering iron. And what seems really interesting to me was that this, at least in the article, it mentions how this is really impressive because it's the first soldering iron running its own operating system. And I mean, why would it not have an operating system? Yeah, they all do. But okay, this seems to be the point where that started.
But I mean, this is 200 years ago, right?
Yeah.
200 years ago.
Right, they must have had ones before that didn't.
Not sure how they could work.
No, nor do I. But so in that sense, it was really cool to happened to be in this newspaper that thing first started.
Yeah.
Right, and the other one that seemed fun was the Tron Light Cycle ride. It was announced that it's coming to Disney World.
Yeah.
And that ride's still there.
Yeah.
So
that's
been around a long time as well.
I noticed that as well. The Tron Light Cycle is been around for 200 years.
I mean, I guess they must have revamped it a few times in that, since then, but
it's still one of the highlights in Disney World, especially with the Daft Punk soundtrack. I mean, that's every time I go, it's mandatory part of the trip.
Yeah, it's one of the
I mean,
iconic.
They even have
standout things.
They have a bunch of teleporters. Like every attraction has its own teleporters. Like you can teleport basically to the thing you want to do.
Yeah. Don't have to queue up for ages or anything like that.
Exactly, but like the ones at there's a really long queue of teleporters right next to the Tron Light Cycle because it's so popular as an entry point. I thought so. That was really cool. What I really liked was the Eintracht Frankfurt.
Moving
sticker.
on from the newspaper.
Yeah, exactly. Although, were we done with it?
No. Let's not go through the whole. That would be a lot of stuff to talk about.
Exactly. I thought the Eintracht Frankfurt sticker was really nice. It's it didn't it was a little unclear from the sticker if it was about the club or one of the specific divisions or something like that.
Pipe racing or football or
exactly. Yeah, I'm thinking football because I mean at the moment they're one of the top teams in Europe.
I think they've been well known for that for a long time.
Exactly. I mean, at the moment they have the star players like Annette Berger or Sylvia Brauhaus. They're like the celebrities in our time. So I'm pretty sure that this 200 years ago this must have related to the same same team.
But it's cool to see this sticker because the logo on it it's similar to the current one, but it looks more old fashioned.
Yeah, exactly. So they got it slightly revamped, I guess, over the time.
Yeah.
And of course, they had some of the results in the newspaper as well. So,
we
at least
see how they were doing.
The football team was around back in the time. So
Yeah. Another thing this was a bit more. Well, it makes me scratch my head about it. Was a glass jar. It says Nutella on the side. The expiration date, was a while ago, 7th of May, 2024. And I think because it's so old, that's why whatever was in the jar, it's just turned into this brown goo, basically.
Exactly. It looks all brown, like we didn't open it.
No, like you can see it through the glass.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally brown. Must be something with nuts in there because it's Nutella.
Yeah, would make sense.
But I think it's also pretty brave of Lydia sending us something that goes 200 years in the future with an expiration date of 1 year.
Yeah.
Also, expiration dates. So food went.
We've mentioned. So we've definitely mentioned that we use food conglomerators. I think we did mention at some point, like the idea of leftovers isn't really a thing, but some people do it for fun sometimes. I can't remember all the things we said about it in the past episodes, yeah. But right, this is before food conglomerators.
Yeah.
So you have this jar of whatever was in here, and I guess before the 7th of May 2024, it wasn't just brown goo, it would have been something tasty. But at some point when it got too old, it kind of disintegrated or...
And for us, like whenever we don't eat something, we put it back in.
Exactly, yeah.
And it gets repurposed. And whenever we want it again, we'll have it produced again.
Yeah, fresh.
I thought there were also some things in there that were a little bit unclear to us.
Yeah.
Like there was a small stick in there.
1 second.
Do we still have that somewhere?
Here it is. This one here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I'm holding it in my hand. It's a small metal-y stick that should have fit in something, and it says USB.
Right, it says USB on the side in Boston.
And some like 16 GB, so 16 GB, whatever GB is. So
we don't have anything that can plug into. So
exactly. So some stick that says USB. I don't know if that's a brand, and 16 GB. So thanks for the stick.
Yeah, indeed. I mean. Maybe there was something on it of some kind. If it's something, because you see in here, you can see these metal contacts, so maybe it's something that's meant to go into a computer or something. But okay, we can't get anything off it.
Or maybe it broke off of one of the other things in there.
Yeah, maybe
because there was another the 5C thing in there.
Right, yeah, the next thing. Here it is. It's now we know what these are. It's an iPod. But it's small. We had one long ago. This one is smaller, and where that one was like reflective, like a mirror on the back and white plastic on the front. This one instead is metal all the way round, and not shiny, but like what would you call this? Matte?
I guess matte. Yeah.
Anyway, like it's got a texture to it rather than being glossy. But it seems like a similar kind of thing. It's got this circle on the front, this screen above it. So it looks like we have another iPod.
Does the stick fit in it somewhere?
Let's have a look.
So
there's this slot on the bottom. Now we know what that is from the other one, but no, this doesn't fit in there.
Okay.
Nor on the top.
So it doesn't seem to be broken off of this thing.
No, it's not. And also, look, this one, this USB thing is golden, and this thing's silver. I mean, they could have come together. Maybe this radius. Okay, that. So check that out. There's on the top of this iPod. I don't know what is that shape. It's like a rectangle with rounded bits at the end.
Yeah.
Anyway, and the USB stick thing, it's rounded on one side and flat on the other, and that circle does fit on there.
Right on it.
Hey, check that out. Goes over.
Oh, and it fits right on the hole.
On the hole.
But it doesn't do anything if you.
No, right, it doesn't. Either. Nothing happens.
Okay.
Oh well. Anyway, but cool to have another iPod.
Yeah. So. Like this is our second iPod.
Yeah. And I didn't get to plug it in yet, but I'll try that at some point. Maybe it also has more episodes of our show on it.
Cool.
Or music, or we'll find out.
So what was in the big...
this one?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
I can
so it's,
take it.
Yeah.
And it says, so this is there's a bunch of text on this, but essentially it's a cover, and you can open it up. On the side it says DVD.
Yeah. And inside?
There's some sort of disc inside.
Yeah, it also says DVD on it there at the bottom.
Yeah. And this is about something called the American Astronaut.
Yeah.
So there's some black and white picture on it.
Historical documentary or something.
Yeah. Yeah, but it says on the back something about science fiction.
Right, yeah. Yeah, right there. By Corey McCabe. I said it's a musical even. Okay, so, well.
A science fiction musical called The American Astronaut.
Pretty cool. In the inside there's this disc, which has a picture on one side.
DVD video.
Yeah. Okay, video. That's self-explanatory.
Just not really sure what to do with the disc because it doesn't fit in the iPod.
It does not. It's much too large. You can't get it in that slot on the bottom. So.
But a picture on it is pretty cool.
It's nice, yeah.
I didn't have a disc with a picture on it. Yeah.
No. now we do.
Okay.
What else did we have? Okay, this one, like the Nutella. So it looks like it's a food product called, and on the packaging, if you got it there, yeah, it says Handkäse, which is so German for hand cheese. And we know that people used to eat meat, so I guess this is some cheese made of a hand of an animal.
Yeah.
I will not open that. I mean, it's 200 years old, so even if we wanted to eat it, we wouldn't eat it, but I really don't want to eat it.
Exactly, there's some plastic wrapping around it. We'll keep that wrapped around it.
Yeah, keep it sealed.
Pretty brave again.
Putting food for us. Yeah. Anyways. And
then there was this
last thing? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not last, but yeah.
There was another tech device in there, which is kind of like a roundish, I don't know what the shape is called, but like a
cylinder? Like it's a short
cylinder. Exactly. And it's called a dot, apparently.
Yeah, it says in the manual there, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she added a manual.
That's really, really helpful, because when we did that box of old tech stuff and we had no manuals, that was really tricky.
And it was interesting where initially we thought they were separate things. Like, hey, there's this little booklet, and then, this belongs to this device that's further in. So it's called a dot, and in the manual it says it's a smart speaker.
So I guess you ask it to tell you about something, and it tells you about it in an intelligent way.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently the smart part was you can say something and it answers.
Okay. So
the sound goes in, sound goes out.
That's pretty basic. That's not okay, but yeah, 200 years ago maybe that was considered. Okay.
And I guess this was considered smart. I'm not sure.
Right, but this one we could plug it in. It doesn't do anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
yeah.
But this is light, blue light.
Well, it mentions in the manual that it needs to connect to some servers, and I guess those ones don't exist anymore.
Yeah, but it does have this glowing blue light. That actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, and then the last thing, where is it? Here it is.
Oh yeah.
This was really nice to see. So I'll describe it in with great accuracy. It's a Lego plate, 1x4, and what's really cool is this color is old blue. They've not made this in decades. Now it's called Hyper Blue is the current blue, and then this one retroactively has been renamed Old Blue. It used to just be called blue, you know. But so it's a piece of Lego. It's nice to have. It's in good shape, and especially in this color.
It was interesting though. Everything else was kind of neatly stacked.
Right, and this was just loose at the bottom.
I think that to me that looked like that wasn't in there on purpose.
Okay, maybe someone dropped it in there by accident while the other stuff was being
packed.
That's possible.
I can imagine that Lydia is now looking at her pirate Lego house, going like, "Where did this part go?"
I mean, that's possible, or maybe big collection is from a bunch of loose
could be. Yeah. But either way, Lydia, if you're missing a Lego piece...
yeah, right. If you were missing it, or if you noticed it was gone, we've got it. You can probably get another one on Bricklink.
Yeah, that's probably easier than digging up the time capsule.
Yeah, you don't need to dig it up to get this piece.
I guess actually, and from us still holding it, I guess you did.
Correct. Yeah, it's not fading out in my fingers there. It's still there. Very solid.
And that's weird to think about. Okay, well, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's like... hearing about it, going there, digging it up, unpacking it, and talking about it. That was all.
So that was like a third present, getting to go out in the forest for a bit. I mean, I go there anyway sometimes, but this was like a additional reason to go for a walk in the forest.
It was really nice. It was really like a mini adventure. So thanks a lot again, Lydia, for making that possible.
Wrap up time?
Yes.
People listening to this podcast in the past, please send an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com. Put the number 93 in the subject line so that we know this episode went back successfully. And when you have any questions or time capsules you want to tell us about, put those in the body of the email.
All right. Then thanks for listening, and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.